Ryan from ExtremeTerrain.com, and in this episode of Throttle Out, we did a build on the Dune 4-door JK that you see behind us, and obviously we're taking you out on the trail and we're going to show you how each of these parts is actually helpful and how it's going to help you get down the trail in the real world. We went ahead and installed a lift kit on this Jeep. We also have a bigger set of tires, and as you can see here, a set of rock sliders and a couple of skid plates underneath. We're going to show you how each of those pieces is beneficial when you're out here hitting the rocks. You can also see up top we have a rooftop tent. We're going to do a little bit of camping later and have a video about some camping gear that you can get for your Jeep. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can check that video out as well. Now it's time to hit the trails and show you what we did. So like I said before, we installed a bunch of parts on this Jeep so we could take it out on the trail and actually show you how they work in the real world, why you need them, why you want these parts installed. I have a spotter with me today, but I'm actually going to ask him to get me into some tough spots so that we can best illustrate to you why you would install a couple of these pieces, especially the armor. But the first part I want to talk about today that we installed is the Rock Crawler X-Factor 3.5-inch lift kit with the Fox shocks. Now we installed a 3.5-inch lift kit because we wanted to run 35s on this Jeep. Of course, you could run a set of 33s with 3.5 inches of lift, but in my opinion, they look a little bit small, and you could run a set of 37s, but you wouldn't have nearly the amount of articulation that we have, and we are using all of it out here on the trail today. So I really like this kit because it's very, very complete, and it's very full of high-quality components. This lift kit includes all 8 control arms, and they are going to have a spherical joint on at least one end of every control arm, giving you a ton of articulation. It comes with front and rear track bar brackets so that you can completely center the axles underneath the Jeep. It's going to have those Fox shocks that's right there in the name. Those ride incredibly comfortably, both on-road and off-road. It also has things like brake lines and sway bar disconnects. So again, very, very complete kit, works very well both on-road and off-road. We're actually coming up on an obstacle right now that's gonna really illustrate why you install a set of 35s on your Jeep and why you run them with a 3.5-inch lift kit. The shocks that you decide to run with your lift kit is probably the most important factor in how comfortably your Jeep is going to ride. And in my opinion, if you're gonna spend money on one part of your lift, spending money on the shocks is going to pay dividends. It's going to be well worth it. Going with a high quality set of shocks is a great idea, which is one of the reasons that I really, really like this kit, because it comes with Fox shocks. They're going to ride very, very comfortably, they're going to hold up really well, and they're going to perform really well both on-road and off-road. I'm a firm believer that every lift kit should come with a set of quick disconnects for the front sway bar, and if it doesn't, you definitely need to get one. That is what really unlocks the potential of your lift kit, especially a kit like this that has spherical joints on at least one end of every control arm. You are going to get so much articulation from your suspension if you have that sway bar disconnected. And what it's really all about is not just flex and not just looking cool, but it's really about keeping more weight on more tires more of the time so that you have more traction. That traction, of course, lets you get over more obstacles and lets you have a lot more fun when you're out here on the trail. So the lift kit, the wheels, tires, the suspension in general is working really, really well. And we said we also installed some other armor on the underside of this Jeep. We'll show you how that stuff works in the real world and why it's so important. A big part of this build was installing some skid plates on the bottom side of the Jeep. Everybody wants to install the big lift kits, the wheel and tire packages, all the flashy stuff you can see, but skid plates are as or even more important because you can get away with less lift if you have the underside of your Jeep protected. There are a lot of things underneath the Jeep that if you get them damaged off-road can definitely ruin your day, so adding some skid plates will give you peace of mind against that damage and can also save you some money down the line with big expensive repairs. So on this Jeep we went ahead and installed a set of Rugged Ridge skid plates on both the front and the rear differential. When you're wheeling on the rocks like we are out here today, if you peel back a differential cover, you'll dump your differential fluid on the ground and that can ruin your day pretty quickly. Even worse than dumping your diff fluid on the ground is emptying out your engine oil pan, so we installed an MORE oil and transmission skid plate on this Jeep as well, just for that peace of mind. So we have an area over here that looks like it's going to test out that differential skid plate pretty well, so let's hit it. This is a pretty good spot going in this direction to actually show you that oil pan skid plate in action as well. So let's hit that and see what happens. So that was definitely directly down on that oil pan skid plate. Might take me a little bit of rocking to get off of it, but at least I know I didn't punch a hole in it and it's not gonna end my day. The other nice thing about having skid plates is when you get high centered like that, you can just give it hell and get off the rocks. Definitely glad that you have skid plates installed on your Jeep when you're doing wheeling like that. You can get out here, you can actually have fun. You can do the technical aspects of wheeling, but you can also just hammer down and know you're not going to do any damage to your Jeep. Really glad that we have those skid plates installed. It's a great peace of mind. Got a little bit of a mud puddle up here. It's certainly not going to illustrate our lift kit quality, but it is going to be fun. I always say bombing through mud, it doesn't take a lot of skill, but it is so much fun to do until it comes to the cleanup. So that is exactly why you install a set of rock sliders on your Jeep. You're out here, you're wheeling, you gotta protect your rig, and the rockers are one of those areas where you can get some huge damage. It can push that rocker panel right up into the door, which can actually make it impossible to open the door, cause tons and tons of body damage. So rock sliders are a great investment that way. And a lot of rock sliders will actually be dual purpose for you. These ones in particular are the Barricade rock sliders. These are going to provide a step and also a very strong rock slider. These mount directly to the frame, which is where a lot of that strength comes from. Now there are a lot of other sliders out there. As I mentioned, you can get some that are more of a step and less protection, or more protection and less of a step. So it really comes down to what kind of wheeling you want to do with your Jeep. But for us, for being out here hitting the rocks, I'm really glad that we had these installed. These were a great addition. So that'll wrap up our day out here on the trail. We had an absolute blast. As we showed you, having some armor installed if you're gonna be wheeling the rocks is very important in making sure that you can bounce down the trail and keep going and not cut your day short. And if you wanna have a ton of fun out here, having a lift kit, having some bigger tires are going to ensure that you can get over pretty much anything you point your Jeep at, and you are absolutely going to have a blast wheeling with a setup like this. Remember, when in doubt, throttle out, and remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well for more videos like this, more great Jeep builds, and other awesome Jeep content.